I was going to that press hunter George Tokos, who returns to action March 11th against Ty Flores. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I've had a crazy few weeks, but I'm good.
Dude, I know you're fucking flying to Vegas every 3 days. What the
I
hell?
know, I know, bro. I think I've been away 4 weeks out the last five.
Dude,
I
that's
went I
crazy.
went out there for the first event of the year. The first UFC event of the year was I think January 15th.
Right?
And I had a teammate Chase Sherman fighting. I was cornering him, and then another teammate Andre Fialio. He got called up on short notice to fight against Michel Pereira. But then while we were there, one of Pereira's cornermen tested positive for COVID. So they pushed that fight to the pay-per-view the next week in Anaheim. So I was like, oh, we'll just have to stay out here, I guess. We stayed instead of flying back to Florida after the fight and then after the January 15th event and then flying back there for fight week. We said, oh, let's just stay out here. We rented a car, the UFC paid for it. We drove to Cali, stayed for that fight week and that event. That was a crazy fight and pay-per-view. Then back to Florida. Then the week after was just now and flew back out to Vegas because my boy Brendan Allen took that short notice fight. So I was back and I was like, great, I can crack down and train. And then he's like, bro, I just took a fight. We leave tomorrow. I was like, okay, let's go. Yeah.
Crazy.
So it was crazy.
I mean, but do you like cornering?
Yeah, of course, man. I can't leave my brothers out to dry. Like we're all like that. We're on the next flight if you need us, and that's how we are, man. We're ride or die. Like if someone has a fight, we're there, And we get in great work because we're all like pretty good at fighting. So yeah, there's like we're always just working out while we're on the road and getting in great training. We all like to run a lot. We all do our lifting together. Like we don't miss a day. It's actually easier. Everyone asks me this. They're like, why can you train when you're away? I'm like, yeah, it's great. Like I got no distractions. Like I can sleep. Like I'm on my own schedule. I train 2-3 times a day. It's great.
You've been using the UFC PI a lot.
Yeah, we were at the PI like every day, almost a couple times a day.
That's nice, dude.
That
That's
was
nice.
great. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll be there in the UFC pretty soon, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Well, actually, let's just fucking get to it. So you're supposed to fight Ty Flores on February 27th.
Yeah.
And now it got pushed to March 11th. It was supposed to be in Dallas,
No,
and they went to Colorado. Like, what happened?
it actually goes back further than that. Like I think when I first fought for Fury, they put his name in. They're like, "Do you want to fight this guy?" Because I think that he'd already signed to them. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll fight him. I'll fight anyone." And I think he said no. This was like last year. He says no. So I was like, "Oh, great." Then we get scheduled for February 6th. They offer me that fight for the title against Ty Flores. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. They're like, he don't want it on that day. He can't do that day. Like he said no to February 6th. I'm like, oh God. Then they're like, oh, he'll do February 27th or 26th or whatever in Dallas, right? I was like, okay, great. Let's do it. I get a call, I think last week or the week before. Yeah, Ty's out. He's pulled out. I'm like, oh, great. They were like, but we can get someone else. I was like, okay, who is it? They're like, it's that Joel Bauman guy. I was like, hell yeah, I'll fight. No problem, let's do it. So they sent me that bout agreement. I signed that. Then a few days later, I get another call. They're like, hey, listen, they're doing this Dana White looking for a fight with the Nelk boys. And Mick Maynard just called us. They named you by name. They want to push your fight with Joel Bauman up and put that on there as the main event on FAC. And Fury was going to give them that main event, so just to do them a favor because it was a big thing for Dana and the Nelk boys. But the way they sold it to me, they were like, they want someone loud, obnoxious, crazy. They were like, they want you. I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess that fits me.
It's the book.
But it was so soon, bro. I'd have to make weight in like a week. I was like, look, I called my nutritionist. I said, give me a few minutes. Called the nutritionist to see. I was like, can I do it? And he's like, bro, I mean, you can do it, but it's going to be bad for your body. That's the reason I had to move up to 205, just because I would do those. We call them Brazilian weight cuts. We do those Brazilian weight cuts to get to 85, and I just feel like garbage, wouldn't perform well. That's the only reason I've lost in my career is from like bad weight cuts. So I was like, damn. I was like, is Mick going to be mad if I say no? They were like, no, it's not your fault. We're just seeing if you could do a favor, but it's no problem. Don't worry about it. It's not going to like screw up your chances or anything. So then they call me back. They're like, look, they're still going to take Joel, I guess, to be the B-side for that fight that he just had. I don't know if you watched that event.
Yep.
Yeah, Josh Frem's a great kid, man. I'm a big fan of him. I cornered against him when he lost the LFA belt to Gregory Rodriguez, my brother. But so he's a great kid. I'm super glad he got picked up off that fight. But I was kind of watching it like, damn, that was supposed to be me, man. But anyway, then they call me back after that bad news, because after that they said, well, now we're still going to get you on the end of February. We need to find someone else for the belt. But if we can't get anyone, then that fight's off. So I was like, damn it. Like, do I keep training? Like, what am I doing here? Then I get a call from the Fury matchmaker, Rich, and he's like, look, man, Mick just won't let this fight go. He wants to see you against Tai Flores to see who's like the best unsigned 205er in the country. He can't do that end of February date, but they spoke to his coaches and stuff apparently, and he'll be good for March 11th in Colorado. They were like, I know this guy's messed you around and he's basically pulled out 2-3 times on you, but Mick's adamant he wants to see that fight. Do you want to do it? I said, yeah, but on one condition. I know he trains out in Colorado and Denver. I was like, I want to be in the red corner. I want to walk second in his town where he trains, where he lives or whatever. And they were like, and he just laughed like, yeah, this is exactly why people want to see you, because you're crazy. I was like, yeah, that's my one condition. He was like, okay, it's done. So then they sent that bout agreement, and now, yeah, I'm fighting Tai Flores for the Fury light heavyweight belt on March 11th in Castle Rock, Colorado.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, crazy story, man. It was like ups and downs. I was kicking myself that I wasn't like lighter and I couldn't take that Nelk Boys thing because I was made for that, man.
Straight up, you dude, loud. Yeah, dude, like you're definitely going to be the Nelk Boys fighter. That is a bummer. But I mean, I guess how frustrating is it to like that you're like waiting for this, like, because after your last fight, the UFC said, you know, you get one more win and you're in, but you're like, you keep waiting for this fight and it just keeps being pushed and pushed and pushed. Like, how frustrating is that?
It is frustrating, but now like my weight's good. Like if they called me with that Nelk Boy shit today, I could make weight in a week. So it was kind of a good like kick up the butt, because it was like, damn, I should have been in shape. Like it serves me right, and I take full accountability for that. But it's kind of motivated me. I'm going to be super ready for March 11th. Like, I can't wait. I mean, hopefully you don't pull out again. Yeah, it should be a good one.
Well, let's talk about it. Tai Flores, man. Yeah, so he's pulled out numerous times. How do you like the matchup?
I mean, to be honest, I actually, when I heard that he accepted it the first time, I had a lot of respect, because when I was in Colorado, I was going to one of the gyms that he trains at and training with one of the coaches out there that I knew in preparation for my fight. And then we shared a dressing room. So he watched me warm up, and then he watched me go sleep this guy in a couple minutes. And then he had a pretty boring fight against someone that like he's supposed to finish in front of Dana. And I watched him warming up like he's nothing special at all. So I was like, damn, I actually had the thought when I was in the dressing room with him, like, oh, this guy's never going to fight me now. Like, I can forget about that fight because he's seen me and I've seen him, and he would never fight me in a million years now. So when I heard that he initially accepted, I was like, oh, wow, this guy must think he can beat me. Like, and I had respect. I was like, damn, okay, he thinks he can beat me. Like, let's go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, the whole pulling out must be, I mean, is that kind of mind games with you?
I don't know. Not for me. I mean, I'm pretty chill. Like, I don't really think about that kind of thing. I just sign up to fight, and I train and I fight. Like, I train with so many killers that there's no opponent that could phase me. You know what I mean? It would have to be someone that I knew, that was a friend. It would have to be a personal fight. If it's a stranger, it doesn't matter how good they are. They're not anywhere near as good as the guys that I train with. So there's no way I could ever fear an opponent's skill set. But like I said, I respect him, and I was actually trying to think, like, what could he bring that he could outdo me in? And I was like, he must think that he's tougher and like can beat me in a 5-round fight when it comes to cardio. So they're the things I'm thinking of, because skills wise, there's nothing that I'm concerned about as far as his skill set. But he's one of those guys who kind of, like, there's guys in the UFC, he's fought good guys that are in now, like Dustin Jacoby, like, that I don't think could finish him. So he's very durable. And I think his game plan usually is like, he's like a human punch bag. Like, people get tired from punching him in the face and then he finishes them, like when they're exhausted, you know? But that won't be me, man. I don't see myself like losing a decision to this guy. I always go to finish fights. Like, I have a high finish rate. I've finished all my fights except for one, which was like my pro debut. But yeah, so that's the only things I can think of. Like, so I respect him for what I assume his game plan will be, because that's a tough road to take. To go in there and not get finished by me and outlast me and want it more and beat me. So that's where I respect him, if that is his game plan, you know?
You think he's also the fight is moving to Colorado, so maybe he's thinking the elevation might get to you?
Maybe. I mean, that's why I went out there early last time to like acclimate. I was there 10 days before because I have teammates that are from there. I train with Ian Heinisch. I train with Nate Marquardt. These guys are from Colorado, like they're natives, and they told me everything to do. They gave me the advice when to get there, what to do, how to acclimate properly. And it worked out great last time. So I'm not really concerned about that. And I mean, he's not in great shape. He kind of tanks most of his fights anyway. His last fight was atrocious. And yeah, I don't know. And I think he's been popped for steroids in the past. But if he wants to get back in the UFC, I'll assume he's natural now, because he wouldn't be like trying to go on this win streak to get signed if he was going to pop immediately from using stuff. So I'll assume he's natural, which makes it fair. So I have no concerns.
How you see the fight going, and do you have a prediction?
I don't know. Like, I always come out to strike. I never actually plan to like grapple these guys. They just want to wrestle me, so I just submit them. But if not, then I'll knock him out on the feet. You know, I'll aim to stop him, to try and break him and make him quit. Now, the fact he's accepted the fight, and I have that respect for him, but now that makes my motivation to make him quit. You know, to make him so tired and make him quit and just destroy his body and his face until he breaks, and stop him like that. Like, I want to either make him, I might make him physically submit and tap out, or just break him with strikes and ground and pound him out. You know, I want to break him.
So after your last fight, the UFC said, get one more win and you're in. So this is basically a tryout for the UFC in a sense. Is that added pressure on your shoulders?
No, to be honest with you, Al, I don't care that much about fighting in that sense. Like, and it is actually like the teammates, the guys I travel with to corner, they're the ones that really push me and motivate me. And they're like, bro, you have the skills that you can do this. I never forget, I cornered Brendan Allen a couple years ago when he submitted Carl Robertson at the first UFC that had fans again. And I always remember this moment. He was like taking his photos after, and he was like, bro, you can do this. It was like, trust me, like, you're good enough. I know you. I train with you. Like, you're good enough to be in the UFC. And at the time, I was like, oh, bro, like, I don't care. I was like, what, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? And then he's the one that kind of gave me that push to like, to fight and fight and fight. And now it seems like a realistic goal, you know, especially at this weight class, because the UFC is so thin. They're always looking for new guys at 205. So yeah, now it seems like it's possible. It's more motivating, you know. It's like, okay, let's go. Yeah.
For sure. So are you staying at a 205?
I mean, I got heavy, and that's what pushed me to 205. But as I get in better shape, if it if it is like healthy to go to 85 and I can do it like easily, then I'll do that. Yeah, I can go between. I don't mind. You just saw Brendan go up to 205 on short notice, so I can go between. We'll just see how the fights go, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. So maybe you get signed to UFC, you go to the UFC PI and do some tests and say like
Yeah,
kind of take it from there.
yeah, probably.
Awesome. Awesome. What do you want your 2022 to look like?
Finish Tai Flores in a couple rounds, get signed, have a debut where I finish another guy, and then hopefully like have a good fight towards the end of the year, be signed. That'd be cool. I kind of feel bad, Alex, because like I got so many teammates that have been like nose to the grindstone for years and years to make it. And then I kind of wasn't bothered, and then like had a few fights and got a few cool finishes, and now it's like my name's in the hat. Like everything seems to be poised for me to do it. Yeah, I almost feel bad, you know. But I mean, what can I do? And do you know what? I feel like we always talk about the MMA gods. I feel like that if you want it too much, the MMA gods will spite you. When you don't even care about it, like you get in, you know?
Yeah,
It's
no,
crazy.
for sure, for sure. I mean, and plus, I mean, you're a very talented fighter, but also you have a personality and you're fun,
Yeah,
you know. And I mean, the UFC has the best athletes, but it is an
yeah,
entertainment business as well, you know.
exactly. And Alex, I swear, like, there's no one like me. And that's why I'm kind of pissed that I couldn't fight in February, because the UFC is doing a show March 19th in London, in my hometown. There's only one Londoner right now in the UFC. It's an old teammate of mine, Nathaniel Wood, at bantamweight. But the rest of the guys, they're from like Liverpool, Manchester. They're from like 5 hours away from London. There's no Londoners really in the UFC like that. And I would be the real, genuine Londoner in the UFC. And I would love that. That's why I wanted to fight in February, so I could get a finish and be like, Dana, put me on that March 19th card. How are you gonna have a UFC in my hometown and there's no one from my hometown on the damn card? That's like doing an event in Vegas and the nearest person is from like Wyoming or something, like 5 hours flight away. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, you have this personality and you're fun to talk to, you're loud, and I mean, fans love that, man.
Yeah,
Fans love that. The UFC loves that. I was gonna ask you what what do you think about Sean Strickland? I know that your teammate Brendan
yeah.
had some kind of, you know, bad blood,
But
but
that's over now. That's over, Alex. Like before Brendan fought Chris Curtis, we actually got, no one knows about this, but we actually got it. This is breaking, but we actually got into a little brawl at the PI. No one knows this. Like we were there working out on that fight week, and Brendan knew that Sean would be around because he's Chris Curtis's best friend. So he was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen when I see him. Like, it's going to be on site. We're just going to fight. So we're in the PI and we're waiting to get the shuttle back to the hotel. And then Sean Strickland's in there. And Brendan sees him and he's like, oh God, look, there he is, man. Like, I'm going to smack him. And I was like, bro, don't be silly, man. The fight's this weekend. Like, don't risk something happening. And then he was like, okay. And then sure enough, Strickland sees him. And he's like, what are you looking at? And then they get into it. And there was like a mosh pit, pushing and shoving, security. We actually got thrown out the PI. We're the only people to ever get physically thrown out of the PI, me and Brendan. The security was like, you have to leave, and pushes us out the door. But then the day of the fight, respect to him, Sean Strickland came and he apologized to Brendan. They shook hands man to man. And then we saw him just this past weekend because they both fought. And it was all good vibes, man. It was good vibes. Brendan said, like, you know, he wants him to win because it makes Brendan look good. So,
of course.
yeah. And so we spoke a lot. We saw him a bunch of times. And then after the fight, we saw him and it was all love. And he had a great fight, you know. I think he can do well. He must be like edging into the top 5 now, right?
You would think so. You would think so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's like a different look that Izzy hasn't seen, I guess. I mean, of course, I want my teammate Derek Brunson to get that rematch. So hopefully he gets a good finish this weekend and a solid win, and then he can put his name in the hat.
What do you think of Sean Strickland's personality.
Yeah, I like him. The stuff he says is funny as hell. Yeah, he's funny, man, and he's really like that. That's not an act. Like that's not any Kobe shit. Like he's that guy, like in person. So I respect him for that. You know, he is himself.
I was around him a couple times at Extreme Couture, and he is exactly who he is, and everyone thinks he's been on this act like Kobe Covington. It's like, no, dude, like this
No,
dude is like that.
that's him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man, I wish I could tell you all the stories, but they're so personal to the industry, and he names so many people. But it's hilarious.
Oh, dude.
When I see you, Alex, I'll tell you the stories.
Good, good, bro. That's why you need a podcast so that you can do
I
two
know,
ghost
right?
stories, bro. Two ghost
I
stories.
know. I need to. I got so many stories.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, the floor is
Yeah.
yours.
Just at Tuco300 on Instagram. I don't have Twitter or Facebook or any of that. I need to jump on there, I guess, or TikTok and all this shit. Yeah, that's it, man.